for remote management, reporting, automation, and administration. Windows PowerShell is based around objects, not the text, and it leverages the power of .NET framework and the .NET Common Language Runtime. It accepts and returns .NET objects, allowing for very robust scripting that interfaces seamlessly with the line of business tools. Windows PowerShell also includes single function tools that are similar to traditional tools that are accessible through the Windows command interface like copy, net, dir. Commandlets have a verb-noun structure, so they are somewhat self-describing. For example, a simple commandlet like get date will return the current system date and time, while more involved ones like add content will add content to an item or file. Commandlets can be used independently or scripted together to create a powerful automation application. Help is available by using commandlets by using the get help cmdlet. So Windows Management Instrumentation, or WMI, is a core technology for Windows systems administration because it exposes a wide range of information in a uniform manner. Windows PowerShell includes a commandlet that allows you to interface with WMI objects, enhancing your ability to do real work. Windows PowerShell is built upon a robust architecture that includes a script parser that processes language constructs such as scripts, predicates, conditionals, along with a pipeline processor which manages inter-command communication with using pipes. The command processor in Windows PowerShell manages command execution, registration, and associated metadata. The shell can also manage session state and has an extended type system which exposes a common interface for accessing properties and methods independent of the underlying object type. Finally, Windows PowerShell includes a robust error handler for managing error exceptions and error reporting. Export counter, import counter, and get counter are the three new performance counter commandlets. The export counter commandlet exports performance counter data to log files. Import counter imports performance counter log files like the .blg, .csv, .tsv, and it creates the objects that represent each counter sample in the log. And get counter gets the performance counter data from the local and the remote computer. Windows PowerShell includes a number of built-in commandlets that make accessing and managing key Windows 7 system components very simple. Let's have a look at that. So instead of having to use a variety of tools with different interfaces, Windows PowerShell gives you access to the registry, Windows services, and even devices and event logs, all from the shell's command line interface. Now, because the output of the commandlets are objects, they can be used in automation scripts to manage a single desktop or multiple desktop computers across the enterprise. For example, Windows PowerShell includes a get service commandlet that allows you to get the status of a specific service on the computer or to a list of all active or inactive services. Now, in a script where you need to install an upgrade to software already installed on the system, you can use this commandlet to determine if a service associated with that software is already installed and running. Now, if the service is running, you can use the get service commandlet to stop the service before you install the update package. After the package is successfully installed, another call to the commandlet can be used to restart the updated service. So, most of these commands can be written in a single line. Windows PowerShell makes navigating the registry as easy as navigating the file system. Registry keys are treated as drives in Windows PowerShell, and it uses standard command shell navigation commands like cd, dir to navigate around the registry. So you can do like you go to the from C drive, when you go to the D drive, you say D colon, right? So when you go from D drive uh, to the registry, you can just say HKLM colon or HKCU colon. The shell will return key value pairs for registry locations that contain values. Finally, you can use PowerShell to list all plug and play devices on your Windows Vista based computer, maybe Windows Vista, Windows 7. The shell will return device properties like class GUIDs, device IDs, and device descriptions, and the device manufacturer if it's available. The result of a query for plug and play devices returns a collection of objects which can easily be used in loops in any .NET language to process device information. Finally, you can use the get event log commandlet to return event information from the system event log. The commandlet can list all system event logs, query and specific logs, and return a specific n number of entries from that particular log. The output from the command can be stored, grouped, and formatted to make processing information in the log very, very easy. Now, the graphical PowerShell provides a graphical user interface that allows you to interactively create and debug Windows PowerShell scripts within an integrated development environment, or the ISE, similar to the Visual Studio. So, the graphic PowerShell includes support for Unicode characters and the ability to run an entire script or a portion of a script within the integrated development environment. The new outgrid view CMD-let displays the results of the other commands in an interactive table, where you can search, sort, and group the results. For example, you can send the results of a get process, get WMI object, or get event log command to outgrid view and use the table features to examine the data. So there is support for composing and debugging multiple PowerShell scripts in a multi-tabbed interface. There is support for up to 8 PowerShell run spaces within the integrated development environment. Now, graphical PowerShell also includes syntax coloring, similar to syntax coloring in Visual Studio. So, note that Microsoft .NET Framework 3.0 is required for this. So, Windows PowerShell includes a number of built-in commandlets that make accessing and managing key Windows 7 system components really, really simple. Let's have a look into what that is. So, Windows PowerShell can be run on remote computers in a number of different scenarios. For example, commands are entered on a local computer and executed on a remote computer, and the data is returned to the local computer. The simplest scenario is a one-to-one scenario where one IT professional interactively runs scripts on a single computer. So the fan-out scenario is where one IT professional runs scripts on multiple computers from a single console. This is a one-to-many scenario. Now, in this scenario, the IT pro, the administrator could have different levels of access based on their credentials. This is useful for large-scale automation. This can be useful for throttling or asynchronous support. Now, there is also a fan-in or many-to-one scenario where many administrators run scripts on a single computer. In this scenario, each administrator could have a customized level of access based on their credentials. This provides automation of delegated administration, which is useful for hosted services. It can be useful for sending progress information to the client. A Windows PowerShell script can also be run as a background job. This scenario allows you to run a PowerShell command or expression asynchronously in the background without interacting with the console. The command prompt returns immediately and you can query the job results interactively. You can also run the background jobs on the local or the remote computer. I hope each one of you can hear me loud and clear. In case there are any audio video problems, kindly put your hand up on the Q&A tab. Okay, I hope no one is having the audio problems now. Alright, let's go on to the next slide. Now before the first demo, let's take a look at the demo environment that we have in this particular webcast. So I basically have an environment where I have two the virtual pieces running on my environment, virtual hard disk. One is a Windows Server computer. It's not named as CDC1, it is named as indiaweekly.com. It is the domain controller for India Weekly domain. And then we have a Windows 7 based client computer, which is a member computer for that particular domain, indiaweekly.com. And the administrator of this computer, Amit Bhattacharya, he is also a member of the domain admins group, which is a part of the India Weekly domain. So basically both these computers are up and running, and we'll mostly be using the client computer of Amit Bhattacharya and making use of Windows PowerShell on this computer to remotely manage most of the tasks and status on the domain controller computer. So in this demo, we'll look at how to administer a server remotely, including file and folder maintenance and installing some programs. So I will shift my focus to one of the VPCs where I have a Windows Server installation first. Alright, so this is my server computer. Now on this server, I basically use the Windows PowerShell integrated scripting environment, the graphical, the GUI of Windows PowerShell, and run it as an administrator. So the commands of this, basically this integrated scripting environment is divided into three panes. One is a pane where I can actually type commands and convert it automatically into a PS1, the PowerShell script. Or the middle pane shows me the result of the command that I run. Or I can run individual commands over here, and as I give the command and press enter, the command is executed and the result is shown to me in the middle pane. So the first command that I'll be running, so that is on the Windows Server. So PowerShell 2.0 introduces several significant features to PowerShell 1.0 that extend its use, improves its usability, and allows you to control and manage the Windows environment more easily and comprehensively. It can help increase the productivity of the administrators by providing a powerful, complete scripting language to automate repetitive tasks and to conduct remote troubleshooting. It delivers a growing set of commandlets that can be used to manage Windows-based computers and servers and can be easily extended. So one of the new features of Windows PowerShell is the ability to run Windows PowerShell commands against remote computers. The remoting features of Windows PowerShell are built on the Windows Remote Management, WinRM. WinRM is a Microsoft implementation of Windows Server Management Protocol, a standard SOAP-based firewall-compatible communications protocol. So we first need to run the enable PS remoting commandlet, and this will configure the server for remoting. Now before we switch over to Windows 7 client, we need to make sure that WinRM is run. So other requirements include that the remote computers must have Windows PowerShell 2.0, the Microsoft .NET Framework 2.0, and the WinRM service. So remote commands are supported on all operating systems that can run Windows PowerShell. The current user must have permissions to run commands on the remote computer. So in order to make sure whether it's running or not, so I'll just give the command get service WinRM, and we see that the service status is running. So now I will shift my focus onto the client computer from where I'll basically be using or remotely managing this Windows server. So this is my Windows 7 client computer that I'll be using to manage, remotely manage the Windows server using Windows PowerShell. So once again, let's make sure that WinRM is running on this particular workstation. So I again right click on Windows PowerShell Integrated Scripting Environment, run as administrator. Right. So I'll first be making sure that I have a remoting, WinRM remoting running over here. So first I'll give the command enable PS remoting -4. So it says this is already set up for remote management of this machine. So to get the status, and we make sure that it is running. Just excuse me for a moment. Hello? Sorry for the interruption. Alright, so using the get help about remote command, we'll give you more information about remoting with Windows PowerShell 2.0. Now, to get that particular command, it's a pretty easy one. We just have to say get help about remoting. Now, the moment I say that, it gives me a comprehensive help on how to use the remoting command. Now you see how to run a remote command on multiple computers. This is also a help given over here. So now to simplify and do the demo quickly, I have basically put these commands up into a line-by-line script that I can just, so in this environment, basically I have put all the commands that I'll be typing in a line-by-line script over here. So in order to run a particular command, I just have to highlight that particular line and say F8. So F8 gives me the results of the current command, right? So this help information gives me information on how to run a script on remote computers, how to run a remote command on multiple computers, how to run commands in a PS session, how to create a persistent connection to a remote computer. Now to perform the commands on remote computers, we need to begin with the invoke command CMD letter. Now then we need to specify the remote computer. In this case it is going to be India Weekly DC1. So the command you wish to run against the remote computer is included in the script block bracket. You see over here? So I can say invoke command minus computer name, on the computer name India Weekly DC1. What command? So the command that I would generally run on the PowerShell console on the local computer, I would put up all those commands in a script block enclosed in a curly braces. To run this command, I will just press F8. So what it does is, it gives me the result of this command that it ran on. So basically, it ran the get service command on the remote computer India Weekly DC1. So you see, it gives me the status of the services, the name, display name, like Active Directory Web Service, Application Experience, Application Management. All these services are running on India Weekly DC1, not on the local computer. So running the get service command, it returns the list of all the services on the India Weekly DC1. So let's stop a print spooler service. Let's see whether the print spooler service is running or not. So let me figure out whether a print spooler service is running or not by invoking this command, get service spooler. So when I give the command get service spooler from indiaweekly.com, it says it's running. So I can give this command now, stop service spooler. And now if I say get service spooler from India Weekly, it says the service is stopped. And then I can again give the invoke command on India Weekly DC1, start service spooler, and it starts that particular service. So if you again give get service, it tells you that the service has been started. Now when we query for the print spooler service, it is once again the status is running. Alright, so to view the information about files and folders on a remote computer, CLS will clear the screen. So I can just say invoke command computer name India Weekly DC1 script block. So let me just open another file over here. So invoke command minus computer name India Weekly DC1 script block get location. So this time I am running the command get location on the remote computer. So let's see what that gives me. You see that the current prompt location has been set to C:\Windows System 32, that is on the local computer, right? Now if I run this command, invoke command, now you understand that it is basically the command that is used to execute a single command remotely on one computer whose name is given over here. If you want to run the same command on multiple computers, you just have to type the list of those names of those computers separated by comma at this. So I can write India Weekly DC1, comma, dot, that means the local computer, or I can say comma, computer 2, or and comma, and then I can get the list of multiple computer names over here, right? So when I run this command, this means that I am running the command get location on the remote computer India Weekly DC1. So it says the current path is set to this particular location. Now just as invoke command is used to send one command to the remote computer, enter PS session is a command that will basically let me enter into an interactive session with the remote computer, so that after that I don't have to give invoke command to invoke every command on the remote computer. After that I just have to give this command and they will interactively run on the remote computer, right? So when I say enter PS session minus computer name India Weekly DC1 and when I run this particular command, you see what happens to this? It changes to India Weekly DC1 and the remote location now. So now when I type get location, now this command is still running on India Weekly DC1. So it tells me India Weekly DC1, this particular location. Now I say set location to C drive on that particular computer. And when I run this command, you see that the location changes to the C:\, over here, right? Now when I say get item dot means get item from the current directory, get the list of contents of the current directory. So it just gives me the C drive. The root gives me the C drive. When I say get child item is the same as giving a dir command. So you can give a dir command. You can even give an ls command. ls and dir are already set as aliases to get child item. So when I say get child item, that means get me all the directories inside the C drive or from the current drive. Get child item users means get me the directory users. right? Get child item users minus recurs means get me the directories and subdirectories and their subfiles, etc. from the users. So it recurses the entire path. Now you see, we had said that even the environmental variables registries are set as PS drives in the PowerShell. So we can access registry as HKLM : I can access environment directories at env : Now, of course, you aren't limited to working with only the current location. In fact, you aren't limited to working with just files and folders. So, would you like to see a list of all your environmental variables? So then simply pass along the path of your environment variable env : So I can just say env : and imagine what this gives me. It gives me all the environmental variables that have been set in my computer. Not only that, it gives me information of my user profile, the domain of which I am a member. It gives me the user domain. It gives me the files, the path, the current temporary directory, system root, system drive, the OS information, architecture information, computer name. Now the computer name says India Weekly DC1 because I am still in the remote session on that remote server India Weekly DC1. Right? Now what about all the registry keys found in the uninstalled registry key of the remote computer? So you just specify the location you want to retrieve and get child item will list all the contents. So you just have to say dir HKLM : software Microsoft, and you just have to press tab to complete the path of the current the location of the registry entry. So before this, you were not able to edit registry anyhow from the command prompt. You were not able to do that. But PowerShell lets you edit registry, create and delete registry keys, make subkeys, change subkey values right from the PowerShell command shell. So what it gives me is, it gives me the entry for all the values, their properties, etc. So what I want is, I want the property, the run property of this particular value. So note that the cmdlet cannot be used to retrieve information about the registry values contained within a subkey. To list the registry values, you can use the get item property cmdlet. For example, we can use this commandlet to list the items that are set to run each time the operating system starts. So let's highlight this. There is nothing right now, so I don't have any commands that will run each time the operating system starts. I could have that. So if you need to limit the results of the get child item cmdlet, you can use the -include and the -execute parameters. Include and exclude parameters, sorry. Suppose you want to have information only about the .log files found in the Windows directory. So in this commandlet, we ask for all the files found in the folder and then use the -include parameter to list only the log files. However, this only lists the log files in the C:\Windows directory. You see C:\Windows *** -include all the log files. So it gives me all the .log files. Now we can easily expand the results to all the subdirectories within the C:\Windows directory by adding the -recurs parameter. So we can, as a side note, if you are more comfortable using the dir command, this is included as a default alias to the get child item. So if you say get alias dir, it gives you. So I could easily have said Or I could have easily said so ls and dir have already been set as aliases to the current command, to the base command get child item. Now, the new item commandlet is a quick and easy way to create a new file or a folder. So we'll see how we can work with the files and folders of the remote computer. So again, for this I have already typed to save my typing of commands time on this demo. I have actually typed them to you, and so that typing error time, etc. is saved. Alright. So for example, suppose you want to create a new directory named scripts at the root of the C drive. To do that, you can just call the new item along with the full path to new folder and the new item type. So in this case, it will be a directory. So to use the new item, to get the help on it, I could just say help new item. I could even say man new item. I could say new item get help. So it is get help new item. So when I say get help new item, it gets me the help on how to use the new item command, its syntax, its description, related links, etc. So now I use the new item, create a new item in as C:\script as a type directory. So when I execute this particular command, what is expected? I expect that a directory by the name of scripts will be created in C drive. So now when I run this, it creates a scripts directory in the C drive. When I say new item C:\scripts psscript.ps1 type file, that means create a file psscript.ps1 in the directory C drive. Simple. Right. Now this command new item psscript minus type file force. Now what if I rerun the number 4 command line? Now if I rerun this particular command, it will give me an error that the file already exists. So it says that the file already exists. But if I give the command create this particular file by this name -4, that means it will create a file and it will replace if the file already exists. Okay. Now this particular command line says type file force, and I can easily put some content also into that particular file with the help of a parameter -value. So when I say -value get child item C:, that means I am putting the content, this particular text in the double quote will become the content of the file psscript.ps1 that will be created in the scripts directory. So when I run this command, so it says now, see the length earlier was 0 of psscript.ps1, now the length is 52 characters. Similarly, to get if I say IP config, what will happen? It will give me the IP address. Now what IP address is this? This is not my local computer. This is not this workstation's IP address. This is the IP address of the server because I am still in a remote session. You remember in the last script we entered a remote PS session on the Computer India Weekly DC1. We have not yet given the exit PS session or exit command to come out of that PS session. So we are still executing all these commands. So I don't have a C:\scripts directory over here. In this computer, I don't have a C:\scripts directory. I have that directory created on the remote computer. So this file has been created on the remote server. The file's content has been added to the remote server. So when I type IP config, it gives me the IP address of the server rather than the. So when I say, what will happen if I say notepad, open this. Now, since this particular, I am giving a remote command, so this will basically open this particular file in the notepad on the remote computer, but will not be able to fetch the results over here. So my PowerShell will be hung till the time I close that particular command. So the notepad process starts on the remote computer, but the notepad user interface does not appear. So to interrupt the command and restore the Windows PowerShell prompt, you'll have to press Ctrl+C. You see that it is not yet finished. The PowerShell shell is hung. So using Control C can also be helpful if you are running a especially long commandlet and you want to stop the command before it has finished. So I can just type Control C over here. So it ends the remote command. So however, you can go on the remote computer and open the script in the notepad. So I can go to the remote computer. I will share again the remote computer with you, the remote server. Alright, so on this I can still type notepad C:. So remember, I did not create this directory in this computer from this computer. I did that from the remote computer. PS script. So tab completion PS1. You open this and you see that the content that you gave in the double quotes from the workstation are added as a content of this particular computer, of this particular file. So now let's return to the file and folder options of the remote computer. You can use the copy item to copy a file or a folder to another location. So let me just return to my workstation. So let's say we want to copy our PS script from the scripts folder to the root of the C drive, right? So I'll first get help on the copy item, how to use it. This is the copy item command. So we can do this by using the copy item CMD-let with the current location of the script and then specify the location where we want the file copied to after the destination parameter. So destination parameter. The copy item cscript pscript.ps1 minus destination to, basically I am copying it from the scripts directory to the root directory, which is the C drive. Simple command. It just executes. So if I get the contents of the root, now it gives me the pscript file copied to the root. So now if I get the contents of this directory, the script ps1 is here as well as in the root directory. So if we create a new directory named test and we wanted to copy all the items in C:/scripts including the subfolders to C:/test, you could use a wildcard character, right? So I could say new item test, create a test directory, right, and copy all the files in the script directory to C:/test, right? So, or if I wanted to copy only the PS1 type of files from the script directory to the C:/test, I could give the command C:/script start.ps1 to the destination. So I believe these commands are pretty simple to carry out. So similarly, if you wanted to copy all folders, subfolders recursively to test some scripts, you could just add the recurse parameter here, right? Finally, you can use a command to put a copy of the folder C:/scripts inside the C:. So the recurse parameter is absolutely crucial. Leave it out and the scripts folder will be created in C:/test, but none of the files and the folders in the three scripts will be copied to the new location. So you will create a C:/test scripts folder, but there won't be anything in it. So let's say you want to just move an item, not copy it. So in this case, you can use the move item CMD-let. So I can just say move item, this particular file, to C:/PowerShell pscript.ps1. first I have to create a PowerShell directory. So I'll just create a PowerShell directory. So in this command, I create a new PowerShell directory inside the C drive. Now I say move item, this particular file to the PowerShell directory. Just give a simple move item command. Now if I see the contents inside the C drive, I see that there is a PowerShell directory created right over there. Right? So to remove or to delete a particular file or a folder, I just give the command remove item. First I get a help on remove item to see how this can be used. I just have to give the path. So now I say remove item, this particular file from the scripts directory. Just execute it. Now I see the contents of the C:scripts directory. Of course, nothing is listed because we deleted the file. Similarly, if we want to see the contents of the C drive, and we want to see all the temp files inside the C drive and all its subfolders, etc. So I say C:" -include star.tmp recursively. Just press it. So it gives me all the temp files from all the current root directory and all its recursively all its folders, subfolders, etc. Now in this command, what I am doing is pretty important over here. So we can use this command to locate and delete all TMP files on the drive. After we've retrieved all the files, we pipe it over to the second half of our command. Now by itself, get child item typically retrieves the collection and then displays the returned information on screen as we just did. However, we aren't interested in seeing the temp files displayed on screen. We want to delete those files. Therefore, instead of displaying the items on the screen, we ask get child item to hand over or pipe the entire collection to the second half of our command. Then we have a for each loop to loop through the collection handed over by get child item. So note that the $_ is a special Windows PowerShell variable that represents the individual items in the pipeline. That means that basically this command has given me all these items, right? Now I want to capture all these items one by one and I want to remove their full name characteristics. I want to get their full name and I want to basically run a remove item on all these file names. So $_.fullname will get me the name of the current file. So if I run this command in a loop, every time this command runs, it gives me one file name inside this particular variable against which I run the command remove item. So at the end, it basically results in removing or deleting all these temporary files. So if I execute this command, it will take some time to give me the results. So it's basically, you see, it's running in a loop, taking some time. It's finished finally, right? So now if I run this command to get me all the temporary files, what will happen? It's still recursing, but it is not able to retrieve the file because all the files have been deleted. Alright, so next, let's go back in the presentation to see what we have to cover next. Alright. Content and share the presentation. Alright, so I hope everybody can see the presentation back again. Some people have an issue here. So I hope everybody now has got the audio and video problems resolved. Alright, so coming back over here, let's see what we have further yet. So our next agenda topic is monitoring and troubleshooting. So we will discuss how Windows PowerShell 2.0 can be used to monitor and troubleshoot Windows 7. So Windows Vista introduced the Reliability Monitor, a tool that provides a timeline of system events that correlate with the overall stability of the computer. These events include the installation or removal of software and device drivers, application failures, and unclean shutdowns also. So the Reliability Monitor has proved to be quite valuable to the administrators because it allows them to quickly trace problems back to the system change that caused it. So Windows 7 includes an enhanced version of Resource Monitor, which provides this sort of detailed resource utilization information on a process-by-process basis. One can use the Resource Monitor to view which processes are using the most processor time and memory, which services are hosted within a svc host.exe process, which handles including the devices, registry keys, and files a process is accessing, which modules including the DLLs the process is accessing, which processes are reading and writing the most data to the disk, how much of the network data each process is sending and receiving, which processes are listening for incoming network connections or have network connections open, how much memory each process is using, right? So to help users easily resolve startup problems, Windows Vista introduced two tools, the Windows Recovery Environment and the Startup Repair tool. So users or the administrators can start the Windows Recovery Environment by booting a computer from Windows Vista DVD. The tools included with Windows Recovery Environment can often automatically fix startup problems requiring no troubleshooting from the administrator. So like Windows Vista, Windows 7 includes the Windows Recovery Environment, including improved versions of the system recovery tools. The most significant improvement is that Windows Recovery Environment is automatically installed on the hard disk, local hard disk as a part of the Windows 7 setup, ensuring that all the tools are available even if the Windows 7 DVD is not available. So Windows Vista, Windows Vista included Windows System Restore to store snapshots of the system on the local hard drive, either at a regular interval or to a point before the system updates or applications or device driver installations were downloaded. Now these earlier versions of Windows made it difficult for users or administrators to determine which components would be affected by restoring to a system restore point. With Windows 7, administrators can view a list of software changes before rolling to the Windows 7 back to an earlier state. By offering a more complete explanation of Windows system restore outcomes, such as removing an application that should be preserved. Now, for this kind of changes, an administrator can choose a different restore point or make certain to reinstall the application afterwards. For those problems that still require a call to the help desk, Windows 7 enables the administrators to quickly diagnose and solve problems. Anyone who is struggling to reproduce the problem a user is describing will appreciate the problem steps recorder, which captures a click-by-click screenshot showing what user actions led to that particular problem. So let's explore the Reliability Monitor in great detail over here. Now with Windows 7, Reliability Monitor is now integrated with problem reports and solutions to better correlate the system changes, events, and potential resolutions. Windows 7 also enhances the Reliability Monitor by exposing the reliability data through the Windows Management Interface or the WMI. So using WMI, you can gather reliability data remotely and process it using the Windows PowerShell script and WMI related CMD list. Now, the administrators can leverage WMI to centrally collect and inspect the reliability of Windows 7 based computers throughout the network, either proactively or during the support call. Other management tools such as Microsoft System Center Operations Manager can centrally monitor the reliability data from all Windows 7 based computers. Alternatively, you can create your own Windows PowerShell scripts to monitor reliability and take appropriate actions. By centrally monitoring reliability data, you can identify unreliable computers that are affecting user productivity, even if the users don't bother to call the support center. Now, Windows Vista included Windows System Restore to store snapshots of the system on the local hard drive, either at regular intervals or to points, before the system updates or applications were installed. So with Windows 7, the user or the administrator can view a list of all the software changes based on the applications listed in Add Remove program before rolling to Windows 7 back to the earlier state. So by offering a more complete explanation of a system restore outcome, such as removing an application that should be preserved, an administrator can choose a different restore point or make sure if he wants to reinstall the application afterwards. So in Windows 7, restore points will also be available from system images created by the end users, allowing the system restore to roll back to a point further back in time than the local system restore storage would allow. In other words, backups to external hard disk can be used for restore points also. So after selecting the desired restore point, system restore will perform the steps to restore the computer to that restore point. So like many other aspects of Windows 7, System Restore enables IT professionals to be more effective and productive through the use of Windows PowerShell. So PowerShell can easily create a System Restore point or restore a computer to the System Restore point even remotely. Therefore, while on a IT help desk call, the administrator can connect to a remote computer from across the network and create a System Restore point before making any changes that might negatively affect the computer's stability. So scripts that perform troubleshooting or configuration tasks can automatically create a system restore point to allow changes to be easily restored. Finally, an administrator could use a Windows PowerShell script to restore a computer to an earlier restore point even across the network. So we'll now demonstrate how to basically monitor and troubleshoot a remote system using Windows PowerShell. So we'll see how to monitor computer using Windows PowerShell and Windows PowerShell usage for system restore. So let me shift back to my VPC over here, where you can see what commands you can easily use. Right. So in this case, I will open another of my scripts over here. So in this particular script, so we are going to move to take a brief look working at WMI from Windows PowerShell. So for those uncertain that what WMI is, it stands for Windows Management Instrumentation and is the implementation of the Common Information Model or the CIM on Microsoft Windows. Now what all this means is that many components in Windows and other whole Microsoft Server products provide a management or instrumentation interface. Windows PowerShell has great native support for WMI. The Get WMI object CMD-let is the root of WMI functionality in Windows PowerShell. Let me just clear the screen first. So when I say help GWMI, it gives me help on Get WMI CMD-let, Get WMI object. Now to see what kinds of things we can do with WMI in PowerShell, we can get a listing of the WMI objects within the Windows PowerShell. So obviously there are quite a few things that you can do with the WMI. So I just need to give a command get WMI object minus list to see what all information is available with WMI. Upon seeing its long list, take some time. Yeah. So we can use the PowerShell with WMI to list the desktop setting. So to do that, I'll just say get. So right now with minus list, it gives me all the classes. To extract information on one class like Win32 desktop, I'll give the command get WMI object minus class Win32 desktop. So when I execute this command, it gives me all the information on my desktop. We can retrieve information about the system's BIOS in the same way by passing the value of Win32_BIOS in the class parameter. So I can say get WMI object Win32BIOS. It gives me the BIOS information. Now this is, since this is a virtual PC, so it gives me this kind of information. But if it's a physical PC, it gives me all the more detailed information about it. Now we can get information about the CPU by passing the Win32 processor parameter. So you see that the name is Intel Core 2 Duo CPU, and you can also see that the it will give me the description is Intel i64 Family 6 Model 23 Setting 6. So if I want to only extract the description of this particular class, I can pipe the results of the earlier command to select object, property, only description. So when I run this command, so as expected, it gives me only the description portion of this particular result. Similarly, I can use the get WMI object Win32 network adapter configuration class to get the information about the network adapter configuration on this particular computer. Now what computer? Remember, we are still executing all these commands remotely on the server. We are not executing all these commands for the local computers. I am actually into a remote PS session on the server. So you see, okay. Network adapter configuration. Alright. So for now, we are going to exit out of the PS session with the India Weekly DC1. We will still run the commands against our domain controller, but not inside the PS session. So we'll use the invoke command. So I'm just going to type exit. Not none. I'll just highlight and say exit. Okay, no. So I'm out of the PS session now, right? So if I say exit again, of course it will exit the PowerShell. Alright. So we can use the Win32_product to get a list of the MSI files installed on the domain controller. Nothing will be displayed when we run this command because no MSI files have been installed. So I can say, I can just give a command like, I'll just open this particular, I'll open the other file, installing programs with PowerShell. So I'll just say get WMI object class Win32product, and again running it on for the computer name India Weekly DC1. So I'm not running this command remotely on India Weekly DC1. But since I have the administrative permissions, I am just getting the information about the product installed on India Weekly DC1. So if I just run this command, just a moment. So it gives me no result because nothing is installed right now, right? No MSI files have been installed. Now, when we have an MSI file already located in our domain controller, so we can now go ahead and install it. So I have copied a particular MSI file in a particular location of the server. So now I'll say invoke command. Basically, I am connecting to the directory c:\technet content, getting the results of the technet content directory in a recursive fashion. So again I have to say invoke command on the computer India Weekly DC1. What command? dir c:\technet content. So basic command to get me the contents of the directory technet content on India Weekly DC1. So it gets me nothing because right now nothing is there in this particular directory India Weekly DC1. I have an MSI file that I have copied over there. So what I do is I have to now go ahead and install this MSI package on my particular, or not on this computer, on that server remotely. So first we need to create a variable named product to specify the WMI class. So what I do is I say $product. When I say $product, I am creating a variable, and the variable is containing this particular value converted into the WMI class type, right? So next we can enter the location of the MSI file to have the program installed on the domain controller. So first I run this command to create a WMI class variable called $product. Now I say this object dot install. I call the program install. Install what? I give the path of the MSI package. Now, what is happening? This installation has happened on the remote server, not on this computer, right? Now, when we try to retrieve a list of the MSI files installed on the domain controller, we will see our MSI file we just installed. So when I say get WMI object minus class insert to product, the same command that we ran over here, if I give the same command, did not install actually. Let me just check. Okay, when 32 underscore product install technet content, I have to make sure that the path probably is not right. Okay. Basically, it's directly into the technet content. So I have to basically include this path because it is contained directly into the technet content. Let me just verify. So yeah, now the path is technet content CLI 3 CLI. Okay, there is no hyphen. Just a minute. Demo file, and now this. I think it should run now. Now taking some time to install basically the MSI package on the server. Okay. So after this package installed, we wait for some time, see the identifying number of the package that was installed. Then we can shift to the domain controller to see and check whether the package was really installed and the software is available on the programs now. So it's still running. Alright. So, okay, now I say get WMI object, computer name India Weekly DC1, Win32 product. Let's see what it gives us. Running and doing some work. So it gives me the identifying number and it gives me the GUID of the MSI package that was installed. So let me show, I can go to the server and I can check whether this package was actually installed or not. So now if I go to start, you see that SQL Server error and usage reporting is installed over here. I have a new program in all programs and I see Microsoft SQL Server 2005 is installed over here. Right? Okay. Coming back onto the client computer. Okay, coming back to the presentation in fact to see what we have next. Alright. So this was the, no, we have another one basically. That is the restore point. Alright. Okay, so let us see how do we monitor Windows 7 using, monitor and troubleshoot Windows 7 using Windows PowerShell. Again, let me go back to my client computer. So Windows Vista introduced the reliability monitor which accesses the system stability data from reliability analysis component database in the graphical manner. Now this tool allows the administrators to view the system stability trend and associated events that may have affected the stability. In Windows 7, the reliability analysis component database is accessible through the WMI, enabling the administrators to view and use this data more flexibly. So we can use the Win32 underscore reliability stability matrix to get a list of the stability index of this particular computer. So again, let me just open the file that I have already created, monitoring and troubleshooting. Clear the screen. So I can just say get WMI class Win32 reliability stability matrix to run this. Okay. However, if you only want to get the latest stability index, you can include the first parameter followed by 1. Okay, so as you see, it's a lot of reliability, stability data. I'll just press Ctrl C, right? So to get only the first, the system stability matrix and index, I will just run this system stability index, right? So I'll just highlight this particular class, select first 1, so if I have to select first 2, I'll say minus first 2, first 5 and so on, server system stability index. When I run this particular command, it doesn't give me anything, so it doesn't have the history of the system reliability data or system stability index, is not rated it as yet. You can use the Win32 reliability record to get all the reliability events. So if I say get WMI object Win32 reliability record, it gives me all the previous reliability records. So like with the stability index, you can specify how many event messages to retrieve. So in this example, we'll retrieve the last 5 reliability events. We can also specify that we only want to retrieve the message for each of these records instead of all the other details. So I can say get WMI object Win32 reliability record, pipe it to select first 5, only the message part, and then format it into a list format. So I can say FL or I can say format-list, all of them. You see, I get the message from the first 5 of the reliability messages. So in this command, we'll get the WMI object Win32 logical disk to monitor the disk space basically. Computer name on India Weekly DC1, get WMI object Win32 logical disk, right? And we are getting this information about the logical disk from the remote computer, which is India Weekly DC1. You see, C drive, free space is so much, and the computer name is India Weekly DC1. So if had this been dot or anything, it would have given me the local computer name, right? Now let's see how we can use Windows PowerShell for system restore. So Windows 7 allows you to create a system restore point prior to troubleshooting. Again, let me just open the set of commands I've already written. Alright. Okay, so system restore monitors the system changes, saves the system state as a restore point. In addition, you can create manual system restore points. If a system problem develops as a result of the system change, the user can return the system to the previous state using the data from the restore point. So I can say checkpoint computer description install my app. So I want to install do an installation of an application, and therefore I want to make a checkpoint on the computer. So checkpoint computer description my app. This is creating a system restore point, right? So this message appears giving the process of the system restore point. We can create these system restore points using Windows PowerShell using the checkpoint computer CMD list. This command creates a system restore point called install my app. It uses the default restore point type application install, and other restore point types are application uninstall, device driver install, modify settings, and cancelled operation, right?
Please pardon the interruption. Your conference contains less than 3 participants at this time. If you would like to continue, press *1 now, or the conference will be terminated.
System restore point called change net setting, right? So I say checkpoint computer, change net setting, but the restore point type is modify settings. In this, the default restore point type is taken as installing an application. So when I say checkpoint computer, change net settings, restore point, modify settings, I run this command. Now it creates a system restore point, but the type is modify settings type. So we can use the get computer restore point command list with the last status parameter to display the status of most recent system restore operation on the local computer, right? So because no system restore has been performed on this computer, it lists the last attempt as a failure. So when I run this command, it actually happened, I did one restore on this computer. So the computer has been restored to the specific restore point. So that was the last status. Yes, so it doesn't give me an error over here because I did make one restore over here. So you can leave out the last status parameter to get a list of all the restore points on the computer. So when I just say get computer restore point without the last status message, it gives me all the, so it says last was change net settings as this one. Then before that was installed my app, that was this one, right? So what if now I want to restore my computer to this restore point, right? So we can restore the computer to a system restore point using the restore computer command list followed by the sequence number. So this command restores the local computer to the restore point with the sequence number of install my app, before we install my app restore point. We are also using the confirm parameter to prompt the user before actually performing the operation. So I can just say over here, restore computer to number 7 minus confirm. That means don't start running it. When I run this command, first confirm whether I want to restore it actually. So this is the sequence number. This is, are you sure you want to perform this action? Performing the operation restore point will target this particular computer, Amit's PC. So I say no, because then it will to perform the restore, restart my computer. Next, so for this demo, we will cancel the action. If you continue the system restore will actually force a restart on the computer. Alright, so let's get back to the presentation to see what we have as the last portion of our session over here. So we'll also talk about, so we have 10 minutes to go, we'll talk about what we can do with group policy using PowerShell. So I'll show you the command list that you can run for group policies using PowerShell. Alright, so we'll use PowerShell basically. So what this basically means is, why are you not seeing one? Okay, so one problem that this is we have seen over the period of time is that group policy management has been a great problem for the administrator, and we have the group policy management center that had an API to automate the management of group policy objects. But basically, if I want to automate or if I want to do the same level of group policy management across the remote computers as well, how do I make sure that it runs effectively on all those remote computers? So that has always posed a challenge to the administrators as well as the developers. So Windows PowerShell now has a module called as a group policy object module. So we can just import a group policy object module in the PowerShell that gives me the power to actually work with the group policy object from the PowerShell in the same manner as I would do from any GUI console like Active Directory, like GPMC or Group Policy Editor. So basically, I can make sure that I can now use Group Policy Objects PowerShell scripts for integrated Group Policy Object configuration like logon script, logoff script. So earlier I could only make use of batch files etc. as logon and logoff startup and shutdown scripts. Now I can make use of PowerShell scripts in the group policy as logon, logoff and startup shutdown scripts. So we can configure registry to use those kinds of settings. I can configure registry settings to make sure that they are reflected with the new group policy. So Windows PowerShell 2.0 can be used to back up all the GPOs in the current domain to the directory. We can use the command backup GPO -all path, and I can give the path of the path where I want to basically back up all these GPOs. You can get the resultant set of policies for local computer and logged on the user in the HTML form also. So I can basically give a command get group policy resultant set of policy, generate a report type HTML and give the path where I want the particular report to be generated in the HTML format. Pretty easy. So you can also link the GPO to the different domain. So you can just take copy GPO, this particular GPO from the source domain to the target domain, test GPO, target domain sales.contoso.com. So you can copy GPO across domain. You can also link it. So linking can happen as I have just created a variable by saying $domain equal to get ad domain test.contoso.com, and I can now link this GPO by saying new GP link the test GPO on the target domain and enforced equal to yes. Alright. So actually I could have let me just shift you to the PowerShell on my VPC to actually show how I can do this quickly, because we don't have enough time, so I didn't plan this, but let me just show still. So I still have created, for example, to create a new GPO, I just have to say import module group policy. So let me just clear the screen first. So I say import module group policy. Group policy module is imported. Now I can say get command all the group policies. All the group policy related commands. So it gives me backup GPO, copy GPO, get GP inheritance, get GPO, get GP remote, set GP link, remove GP link. So now I can say get help on creating new GPO. So I say get help new GPO. It tells me how I can make use of the command. How I can make use of the command new GPO. Now I use the command new GPO. The name of the GPO is going to be politics, and the comment is going to be, it is going to be called as politics GPO. So when I run this command, it already exists in India Weekly. So I can say I also have an OU called as Bollywood. Right? So I can just run this command. Okay, let's exclude this. Let's assume that politics GPO is created. So I say get help new starter GPO. So I want to create a new starter GPO. So it tells me what is the syntax of the new starter GPO. Now I use the command new GPS group policy starter GPO for the domain indiaweekly.com on the server India Weekly DC1 by the name India Weekly GPO. Basically create a new starter GPO, India Weekly GPO on this particular server for this domain indiaweekly.com. So when I execute this command, what happened? My server link is broken or PC server unavailable. Okay, I guess I'll just have to reinitiate the client or the server to Just trying to restart the net logon service, just to hope that my RPC connection is restored. Or else I'll try to get into a remote PS session with India Weekly DC1. Okay, so net logon service has started. Why is it giving me access denied? Just a minute. Okay. Alright, so I'll reinitiate the process. So let me just show you the commandlet that I can basically make use of. So once I create, I can link the GPOs using new GP link, target to OU Politics, India Weekly, and then I can say set GP permissions, set the VP permissions, permission on level GPO edit on politics admin. That means give the group politics admin the permission GPO edit on the GPO test GPO and link it with politics, right? So another set of commands that you can use to use the group policy commandlets is, you can say backup GPO, politics GPO to TechNet content. No, of course, it's not able to connect me to the server. I believe connection is broken. I'll probably restart the client and the server to get the connection back again. Alright, then I say get help set the group policy registry value politics on the key H key, current computer, software policies, Microsoft Windows, control panel, desktop, to value name, screen save type of value 900 milliseconds. So this is just, it is not really a part of this particular session to tell you how to basically work with the GPO deep inside, but this is just a PowerShell script that has been written to show you that whatever is possible with the group policy objects management using the GPNC, creation of group policies, objects, setting permissions on them, delegation on them, removing the links or linking them to different GPUs, transferring GPUs from one domain to the other. Everything is also possible through the PowerShell scripts. You can even create the resultant set of policy report, the XML type of report or the HTML type of report, and you can actually see that report from your local computer. Right? So I can give that particular report in the HTML and I can make use of that particular report to see what is the resultant set of policy. So coming finally back to the presentation, to the end of it. So there were two questions basically I wanted to ask to all the audience here. So before this, have you ever used PowerShell in your network? I'll just open up the answer poll. Okay. So 50% of you say that you've used it, exactly 50% of you say that you haven't used it. What about the others? Just a moment. Okay. So most of you have tried it. The people who haven't tried it, toll is going up. Alright. So about 50% of you have tried it, 50% of you have not. So this presentation, this webcast might have given you an inside look into how you can use PowerShell in an advanced manner, basically focusing on to how you can use PowerShell remoting specifically to remotely manage remote servers and computers, to monitor information, to restore your computer, to actually see WMI information from not only local computer but remote computer as well. So how many of you think that PowerShell actually is a really powerful shell? Alright, so I see most of you think that PowerShell is a really powerful shell. So basically, it's important for the Windows administrators to learn the way PowerShell works these days, because PowerShell is one shell or a scripting language on which the entire family of Windows systems is based and is going to be based. So whether it is Windows Server, Windows Client Operating System, System Center products, Exchange Server, all the products have been basically built on PowerShell. So as administrators, it is important for us to know and understand what are the underlying commands that are running onto my system when I am executing a particular task from the window. And you know, the good news is that in the earlier cases, we basically gave up on, understanding what command is running underneath, because for that we had to learn complex, scripting environments, VB scripting and, VC++ and so on. But this PowerShell commands are really so easy that, the moment I display a simple command to you or a simple PowerShell script file to you, going line by line onto the command, you can easily understand what this particular command is doing. So whatever task a window is executing, and if it gives you a PowerShell script which is getting executed underneath it, you can easily tell what this particular script is basically doing onto my system, and you can modify it also easily to make sure that the command that you're giving onto your system, the script is suiting the task what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve onto your system. So I thank you all very much to attend this particular session. As a part of our summary that we discussed, we learned about automating the administrative tasks using Windows PowerShell. We talked about Windows PowerShell 2.0 CMD-lets and a host of them that you can use to manage not only your local computer but also remote computers. And also we talked about Windows PowerShell 2.0 Group Policy Object CMD-lets. That is an advancement in Windows PowerShell 2.0 over the 1.0 family that gives you even more extensibility to use PowerShell in your network environment. So for more information, you can check out my blog at ranjanajain.spaces.live.com. You can visit, you can see the videos and more information on edge.technet.com, or you can go to this particular link ID for additional information on more sessions from the TechNet team. So thank you all for attending this particular session. If you have any questions and answers, I would open the session to question and answer for about 5 minutes now. So you can use the Q&A tab to ask any questions if you have, and I'll try to answer them through the audio over here. Is remote management possible for a peer-to-peer network? Yes, remote management is very much possible. You need not be in a domain environment. If you have permissions, or even if you don't have permissions, you should just apply the username and password onto the invoke command or enter PS session to make sure that you can connect to the remote computer. It can be a peer-to-peer network as well. Okay. Okay, the PowerPoint would be made available to you for the record. Yeah, the PowerPoint is not available for download separately. You can download the session recording. So some people want some detailed information. If you can mail me at ranjanajain@microsoft.com for the detailed documents or information you need on something, I would be happy to help you there. My email ID is ranjanajain@microsoft.com, ranjanaj@microsoft.com. Yes, you can download this session in about a week's time from now on the same link where you registered. Yes, you can monitor Windows events using Windows PowerShell. No, the customer or anybody cannot manage your computer remotely unless and until he has administrative privileges on it. So anybody who can do it remotely can also, who can do it locally can also do it remotely because he has privileges to do that. So anyone from, from the network won't just be able to manage your computer without any permissions as such. Yes, PowerShell 2.0 is available for free download for your system from Microsoft, download.microsoft.com. You can do that and try it. Whole webcast will be available for download from the same link where you registered. So that's all on the question and answer session. I don't see any more questions. Thank you all very much for this attending this particular session. Hope to see you in the next session as well. Thank you.